Everyone's day is off to an amazing start. We are just hanging out today. The weather in Atlanta is just terrible, so I hope the weather is a lot better wherever you guys are. We've had breakfast. I left a little bit after breakfast today and ran a few errands, and we've just been pretty much, Eric and I, hanging out here in my closet. I don't know, a couple of years ago I posted a video where Eric just worked diligently on putting together my closet. For those of you who have not seen that video, I will be sure to leave the link for that video below, but this is all courtesy of Eric and Ikea. Really happy with it. So Eric's in here right now. He purchased some, you know, just a few organization items for my closet a few days ago, but we have been so busy on the basement that we haven't had a chance for him to come in here and really put everything together. And oh, speaking of basement, thank you guys so much for all of the just wonderful comments that you guys left regarding the basement. Okay, we cannot wait to just bring you guys along on all of our decorating, basement, and cleaning adventures. But so Eric, what are we in here doing right now?
Well, as you just mentioned, as you guys know, this closet was my pride and joy. It took about 10 years off of my life.
No, it wasn't that bad.
To build this closet, so I had to make sure, since this is my legacy, that it stays in tip-top shape. So obviously we did this part, and here lately I've been working on the closet in the closet. Right.
So this was a bedroom for all of the new subscribers.
Right.
And so Eric took the bedroom, and we got a bunch of stuff from Ikea. All these shelves here, and he put everything together, guys. He even did this TV for me. We're in here watching tennis right now. Not sure if you guys know, but Eric's an engineer. He's really, really handy too. So what have we been in here doing today?
So organizing it, a few different steps. One of the easy things you can do to organize your closet is hangers. Right?
Really?
So, yeah. So you want to get uniform hangers, right? So
what do you mean uniform?
Well, so we're doing wood hangers in here. Obviously, you can look at the hangers and the cabinets. So you know we wanted the wood to match.
We're also using these little clip hangers too.
Yeah, we do use those.
But to Eric's point, they're all uniform.
Yeah. So we do use some plastic hangers in the house, the clip hangers, some plastic hangers. Even with the plastic hangers though, we do all white, right? So if you want your closet to like look really uniform and not overwhelming, you go in, it's like, oh, there's so much stuff. It sounds weird, but get one type of hanger. If you're doing plastic, just get all white. We're doing wood in here, but keep it uniform.
Yeah, or you can do all black, or look, black. If you like purple or pink, just pick one color so that, you know, when you walk into your closet, you know, whether it's, you know, a closet this size, it's just the clothes kind of stand out, and you can kind of easily go and, you know, pick what you want to wear, and it's not so, you know, so chaotic.
Take your clothes from the cleaners. Take the plastic off of them. They've been hanging. You got it from the cleaners like 6 months ago.
No.
A year ago. And they're still hanging on the plastic on wire hangers. Take the plastic off, put them on regular hangers.
All right, yeah. So what are we doing?
So the first part, and this closet wasn't super duper unorganized, but it needed a little bit of work. So the first part was getting more hangers.
Because we've always actually used the wood hangers. I just like the look of the wood hangers. And when we say wood hangers, you know, I don't want you guys to get kind of scared off with that. Wood hangers, they are not obviously as cheap as the plastic hangers, but they're not terribly expensive.
Yeah, Target sells these, and there's like, I don't remember how many in a box, but they sell just boxes of these. They're like $14. So
okay, so that's not too bad.
So let's do the closet reveal.
Well, it's not a reveal. They've seen
a reveal.
Y'all have seen this closet before.
Not like this.
All
I
right.
put a lot of work in it.
Okay.
So. I'm a neat freak, like, and that's that's just the engineer in me. Like, you're the clean freak.
Yeah.
I am the neat freak. Like, my stuff has to be organized, and so I had noticed when I would come in here, the wigs, you had started making a lot of wigs, and they would just be like all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, and you had like one or
Eric,
two.
call them units.
I love the little, y'all have put a spin on it. They're not wigs anymore, they're units. That's some great marketing.
Yeah.
So they don't sound like, oh, I'm wearing a wig.
Right.
That's real cool.
And actually, 2 of those units are from Renee over at Fly Honey Wigs. If you're watching, Renee, hey! But I made the other ones,
Yeah. So I noticed you had like one of them on a wig head or a unit head, I guess. And I was like, well, you need to get some more of those because they don't need to be in drawers and on the floor or whatever. So we were looking for these for like weeks.
Yeah.
You couldn't find them in the beauty supply stores.
Yeah.
And the idea I came up with, so if you want to put your wigs on wig heads, find a store in your city that sells mannequins.
Oh, that was so smart, babe.
A store supply. It's going to be in an industrial area, but just look up on the internet a warehouse in your city that sells to stores, like that sells to retail stores. Because they're going to have mannequins, they're going to have these wig heads. We just went, they had all kind of neat stuff.
Oh my gosh. If you guys live here in Atlanta, the store is actually out like you're going to Six Flags.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I like the fact that they're all the same. I believe I already had this one.
Right.
All right, but all of the new ones, guys, they're all the same. And I want to say they were like 25 bucks
25 each, yeah.
Yeah. So I even have a couple of spares there, but it just, thanks babe, it just really helps the closet to look a whole lot neater and cleaner. And so as you guys can see in here, these are all long sleeve shirts. So this is where I kind of store my you know, my long sleeve or winter tops.
Does this get creepy though? Like
not at all. I'm just used to it.
They're looking at you.
No, they're fine. They're saying hey.
Another thing I did, so probably everybody has seen the little cubby things. Ikea sells these. Target sells them. You know, they're the neat little cubby drawers. You can get different kind of bins to push in and out. Kind of an alternative to like a traditional dresser drawer. So I got one of these for your closet.
Thank you.
But the problem was when I originally put it in here, you know, it's a little wider than the opening. So like you can't open like this.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, it does.
You can't, you know.
Yeah, it does get
It almost fit, but not quite for the opening. So what I did was, and this might not show, I put wheels on the bottom.
Let me see.
So it's a wheel.
You guys see that? That's a wheel.
So I bought a set of like 4 wheels from Lowe's for like $8. They were like nothing. You screw them on the bottom. It took like 10 minutes.
All right. And so did you mention where the container's from?
Yeah, this is Ikea.
All right. So that's Ikea, but it didn't come with wheels.
No, I went back and got the wheels after I realized it didn't quite fit. All right.
But you had to get them from Lowe's.
I got them from Lowe's. Then, all right, so I'm like, well, now you can move it back and forth.
Let's see.
So you could do this, right?
All right.
But then I'm like, man, it's hard to kind of grip it and move it back and forth. Then I went to Home Depot. So
I told you guys, Eric is so freaking handy.
and these are, I think, fence pulls. These are for like a fence outdoors.
Really?
Yeah, because they have to screw from the outside.
That's not even a drawer pull?
No, this is a fence pull. Because a drawer pull, you'd have to screw it from this way, and that wouldn't work.
Okay.
Right, so you got to screw it from the outside.
Babe, how did you know to do that? How did you know to get a fence pull?
Because I just figured you can't, there's no way you would screw a drawer pull. Because you need a thin, and then you just grab it. So now if you want to get that, you just do that.
Neat.
And then you want to.
And you can shift it back.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So even if this wasn't in a closet, let's say you use this in your kids' room, right? And you want to just to make furniture easy to move, you know, put it on wheels. That's something you can do, kind of reorient the room as you kind of do different neat little setups.
You guys left a lot of questions regarding the basement. One of the questions, I guess, it was kind of not really on topic of the basement, but someone wanted to know, you know, what does Eric do?
Well, you just said I'm an engineer.
Yeah. He's an engineer. He works in corporate America. Yeah. And so, babe, for anybody who, I guess, wants to be an engineer, when you go to school, what do you need to major in, or what do you need to
Well, you know, you got to not only be good at math, but you got to like it, and I say like in quotes. As much as you can like math, you got to like math, have an acumen for physics. Most engineering these days is done on computers, so you got to be computer literate. So.
Yeah. He has been helping me too with some of my organization. Like he said, he's the kind of, he's the organization person. I'm kind of like the clean, you know, neat freak. So, you know, I got a few junk drawers. I got a few junk drawers in here I need to take care of.
What's all this?
Oh, those are just my Disney keychains. I think I shared those with you guys in some of them actually in a haul. If Eric don't come in here breaking up and stuff.
I'll break your glass desk.
Don't you break my desk. But yeah, these are some of the ones that I'd already had these already. These are all my little Disney keychains. I mentioned to you guys that I like to collect not only Disney mugs, but you know, the Disney keychains as well.
Do they know where you got all this glass furniture from?
I think I told you guys a long time ago. This stuff is so old now, but it was Lamps Plus, and you know, I believe this one right here is from Lamps Plus. This one I just have my perfume on, my sunglasses. There's a picture of my mom. I miss her so much. I miss her so much. Yeah, and I kind of store, you know, my makeup in this top one. Actually, this entire side, I kind of put my makeup. Eric, are you satisfied with how, you know, this is organized?
What I'm amazed by is
how much makeup.
So the reason I organized, I did the closet and I did some of that. Even with this closet room, and you got another closet in our master bedroom, like the traditional closet, you're still complaining about running out of room. Ladies, is there a time in life where your closet is big enough? Like seriously, is there a time where you're like, you know what? I think I'm good on closet and bathroom space. I think I'm good. Does that happen in women's lives?
Probably not. All right, so we want to answer the questions that you guys left, because like we said, you guys left some just really lovely comments regarding the basement. Thank you guys so much. So many of you were like, Tan, Eric, if you guys had not even said that it was a basement, we would not have known that it was a basement, but it is a basement, guys. So thank you so much. A question that we got a lot was, how many square feet is the basement? Eric, I'll toss that one to you.
A basement is roughly about 2,000 square feet, give or take. So it's a
good size basement. Yeah. Someone else asked, how do we feel about 9-foot ceilings in the basement? I believe it was a contractor or a builder or something like that. Someone in the construction field, but I think high ceilings are always a good thing, and I mean, my understanding is, you know, that's kind of determined by, you know, how the builder built your house, right? If you have a steep slope, you're gonna have a bigger clearance for your ceiling. So yeah, and I think that person asked too, how do we feel about drop ceilings, because I think he was wanting to put in drop ceilings, and you know, and I think if you're a builder or a contractor, the drop ceilings, it's just gonna depend on your market or the homeowner. You know, for those of you who don't know what drop ceilings are, you know, when you go into certain buildings, you'll see
the tiles.
Yeah, it looks like
a metal track, and they put tiles on it.
Yeah, it looks like a grid or a bunch of rectangles. That's a drop ceiling. So sometimes they get kind of dirty, or even you know, broken or whatever.
Yeah, you just pop a tile.
You just pop it out, and then you can just replace it. We have just regular ceilings. We actually drywall. We wanted our ceilings in the basement to look just like the rest of the house does, and the ceiling height down in the basement is a little bit over 9 feet, so they're really tall. What else?
Well,
Okay.
just to kind of piggyback off what you said, you know, the look we were going for, we didn't want the basement to look like a basement.
Yeah.
So a drop ceiling wouldn't have worked. A drop ceiling, the reason for that is if you've got a lot of duct work and electrical
Oh yeah, I
and
forgot
stuff,
about that.
it can be easier because if you don't do a drop ceiling, you have to do a lot of carpentry around it and make it look good. You have to put in a lot of headers and you have to have good carpenters to do that. So
Yeah.
it just depends. I think a drop ceiling is good for if you're doing more of like a rec room space. But if you're trying to really make it more formal, you probably want to go with just formal drywall.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? The paint color. The paint color is a question we got a lot too regarding the basement. Guys, the paint color of the basement is the same paint color that we have throughout the house. All right. So when we had our contractor start, you know, getting ready to paint the basement, we said we have a little bit, a teeny bit of paint left over from when we had the house built. So could you please take that and match it up? So the paint is Sherwin-Williams, that's the brand, but as far as the color goes, guys, it's just gray. We don't know what gray it is because I think apparently now
it's painted over. Like we have the code, but you'd have to go and pull up the code at Sherwin-Williams and give it to them. But it's gray. I mean, just find a gray that you like. Go look at paint swatches and pick a gray.
Yeah, because depending on the weather outside, like right now it's kind of dark outside. So in here, the paint color is going to look even darker or I don't know, even lighter, I guess, depending on what room you're in. So, you know, pick you a really pretty gray.
We had developed a relationship with the contractor that had done a lot of other jobs. They weren't quite as big, but they were good sized jobs.
Yeah.
So we had confidence. But we did still shop around, even though we had this relationship. And just to show why you have to shop around, the variance in prices was tremendous. You just said our highest quote we got was $150.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna tell you what we paid, but our lowest quote, let's say, was around $50. Okay, so we had a variance, guys, of $100,000. So that's why you gotta shop.
You have to shop around. Don't go with the first bid.
You have to. It's a pain. So if you're thinking about getting major work done, you have to start months in advance.
Yeah.
And contractors get busy too. You have to fit into their schedule, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the spring and summer, I think, is their busy time of year.
So a lot of you guys asked what kind of floors you had. Our floors are epoxied. We looked at a few different options. So let's talk about flooring. And this could be a whole video onto itself, but I'm gonna try to keep it short. Obviously, we have hardwood floors on our main levels. Here in the Southeast, you can't really do they don't recommend it because the humidity is so high. You have to be careful with hardwood because it will warp.
Especially in the basement.
Especially in the basement because that's where all the moisture goes.
Yeah.
We looked at doing, so they're doing great things with tile now. You can get tile that looks like wood. We looked at doing tile throughout, but we just kind of ended up doing it just in the bathroom. And you have to do it in the bathroom. That's to be up to building code, you have to have tile in the bathroom.
Yeah.
What we decided was to just give the whole basement a uniform look and give us flexibility. We knew the gym was basically going to be the epoxy with gym mats. So you got to have a rubberized mats to protect your knees and put the equipment on.
And Eric will show you guys those in a little bit.
Yeah.
You're amazing, babe.
So let's start out with a few questions that you might not have thought of when you get the basement done. The first question we're going to look at is, how long do you estimate this job will take to finish? Now, obviously you're going to ask that, but you also want to understand from your contractors, how many other jobs are they working on, right? What does their workload look like? You know, if they're doing 3 or 4 basements at a time, you know, certainly you want your contractor to be in demand, but you also want to be a priority for your contractor. You also want to get an understanding of how many days a week they're going to work, right? Our contractor was awesome. For the most part, he worked 6 days a week, sometimes even 7 days a week. And I'm not saying that that's normal, but I would at least look for, you know, 5 days a week of your contractor coming on site working on the basement, because a basement can be a very labor intensive process. And if you've got a contractor that's only working 2 or 3 days a week, it's probably going to take a while. Certainly, you know, getting a basement built is really kind of a legal contract. So you want to work out your payment schedule. Obviously, you don't want to pay your contractor everything up front, but I think it is fair to pay in sections or in payment. So in other words, for example, if 1/3 of the job is done, you pay 1/3 of the basement amount, right? And that's essentially what we did. We paid in thirds. Think about the infrastructure of your house too. Building a basement is like building a mini house. So it's not just, drywall and paint. You've got to think about things like air conditioning, the cable wiring, security cameras. In our basement, we actually had an electrical ground wire that was really important because it grounded our house for lightning storms, and a radon meter to detect radon gas. So all of these are things you have to account for in your basement build out. And in accounting for those things, you want to talk to your contractor. And what I would recommend is, you pick things that will personalize your basement. You want to be able to pick things like the tile. We've already talked about the light fixtures being one of the things that can really set your space apart. So light fixtures and fans, toilets, faucets, cabinets, countertops, paint colors, the molding. These are all things that really personalize and give your space character. So you want to have that conversation with your contractor. Some contractors, especially if you're doing more of a budget job, will just say, hey, I'll get everything and we'll get builder grade materials. And that's fine. But if you have a little bit of extra money, you might want to simply pick those materials out for yourself and let your contractor focus on, the big things like obtaining the drywall and the flooring and the paint. And while we're on the subject of, picking out things like showers and toilets, plumbing is one of the major costs, plumbing and electrical, but certainly plumbing. So obviously the more plumbing lines you've got to run, the more it's going to cost. So for our basement build out, we just ran one plumbing line and that was to the bathroom, but we're going to come back and run another one, potentially 2 to the kitchen. So again, all these add into your cost. Now, what I would recommend, and I did this in a program called Visio, but there are a lot of free online programs that you can download to make a floor plan. Or, if you just want to do a sketch on a napkin, just write it out, with a ruler and a piece of paper. But I would definitely recommend you consider your room layout and what it looks like. So what I'm showing on the screen here, this is kind of how our basement looked before we did the build out, before we did the finished basement. So you can basically see you would come downstairs and you basically had 3 empty rooms. And again, this is something, even if I did this in a program called Visio, but even if you don't have, fancy software, you could, it's a box. You could draw this on a sheet of paper just to kind of communicate with your contractor. What you see here, this is just kind of dead space. This is foundation. So there's nothing here. This is just solid concrete, but these are all empty rooms. So we basically had 3 large empty spaces that were semi-framed out. So there were walls, there was some framing, but obviously the contractor would have to come in to do more. So what I did, and again, I did this in this program here, but you can do this on some of the free programs you can download, or just a sketch on a sheet of paper with a ruler. When on our first, in every meeting we had with the contractor, I sat down with this floor plan and said, okay, this is what we want to do, right? We go in a couple of bedrooms, we want a bathroom, we want some built-ins here. I actually downloaded some pictures of what we wanted the built-ins to look like. We want a kitchen here. We talked about doing some built-ins here, but we decided against that. But this is a great communication tool to talk about what our vision was with our contractor. So there wasn't any miscommunication, right? And sometimes, contractors do offer this service, right? But sometimes they will charge you extra for it. But I think even if they do offer it, it helps if you kind of write down or jot down your own vision and take your own notes. So for example, here you can see, we really wanted double doors. So if you're not familiar with reading blueprints, these represent double doors, right? So these are double doors. These are single doors. Originally, we had 2 bedrooms in the basement. And again, this is where this became a great communication tool, because when I showed this to our contractor and we kind of did the walkthrough, we made the decision that it would just be better to keep this open and not have it so closed in so the light could flow better. And this could be kind of a crafts room, but it would still be kind of open to the rest of the basement. And certainly we talked about our vision for the bathroom, what we wanted in terms of a toilet and a sink and a shower. I also had a lot of conversations. Houses these days are very much wired, right? Everybody has multiple electronic devices. We want good lighting. We want LED lighting. So this was kind of my layout that I worked out with my contractor in terms of, hey, this is where I want my lighting. And again, the symbols that you see here, and this drawing is not to scale, but the symbols that you see here, these represent electrical outlets. And you don't have to get this detailed, even if it's just, hey, here's a simple box and I just put X's where I want the outlets. But just have that conversation and make sure that you guys are on the same page in terms of number of outlets. So, you know, I wanted outlets here. I specifically wanted outlets up here where we're going to hang TVs. And I think you've seen that in some of the other videos. So this is where we had outlets up on the wall. I was very specific about wanting the ceiling fans in the gym, right? So giving him that level of detail, helping us communicate back and forth. And we actually, you know, we went through some updates. So this changed, right? We decided, I think we always wanted an island, but we added that detail and we wanted to make sure we got the pendant lighting. So we went out and bought the lights and he installed them, you know, ceiling fans, right? So just seeing this mature, and you can see where, you know, before we kind of had the door here, but then we got rid of that, right? And we actually added a light here, right? And this is actually a change. So when you make changes, you also, and this is something that's really, really, really key. If you make a change or add something, discuss the price of that change with your contractor, even if it seems small, because your contractor is adding that up, right? If you say, hey, can we add a piece of molding here or a cabinet here? They might not necessarily tell you then. Some of them will, some of them won't, but they're going to charge you for that at the end of the job. So as you make little changes like adding outlets or adding lights or fixtures, make sure you discuss that price with your contractor. Another great communication tool with your contractor, certainly do your internet searches, you know, Pinterest and Google and Instagram. Whenever we talk to a contractor, we would essentially interview them and show them details like this, right? We want a built-in, we want, you know, an electronic fireplace. We want it really to look like this. This is our vision. You know, we had a vision for the kitchen with the kitchen island, right? That we, you know, have started to work on, and that's going to kind of be our next big project in the basement. So sharing this kind of information with your contractor is key. So, you know, just to kind of wrap up here, guys, you know, don't be afraid to jot stuff down and take notes. It doesn't seem like a lot. You know, it seems like, hey, I can remember all this stuff in my head. But when you get into the chaos of, you know, doing the actual construction and trying to live your day-to-day life and go to work and take care of the kids, but still kind of supervise and make sure that you and your contractor are on the same page, this stuff can fall through the cracks. You know, contractors are only human. They forget stuff. We forget stuff. So have a plan like this on paper, and periodically, you know, once a week, once every couple of weeks, sit down with your contractor and go through the plan and talk about, you know, how everything's going, you know, what's changed, what stays the same, and what your timeline looks like. And I think doing all these things and almost treating it, I hate to say this, like a second job, right? You almost become a contractor yourself, will help make your project successful.